What do you think about Africans?
Africans have different capabilities.
Nigerians
are the most creative and smartest people in Africa. They have been found to be smart in almost all spheres of life, be it in music, technology, especially IT, business and commerce, and education. Has found them to be smart, successful, and amongst richest people in Africa. The richest man in Africa comes from Nigeria.
What makes Nigerians so creative, smart, and successful?
What makes Nigerians so creative, smart, and successful? It is their large population of over 213 million people. Nigeria has the largest population in Africa and the 7th largest population in the world. And because of that large population, it has made them create competition amongst themselves in all socio-economic spheres of life. In Nigeria, both educated and non-educated find themselves in a fierce competition in order to make the ends meet and survive amidst a large population. Nigeria's large population vis-a-vis unemployment has made them to become more creative in order to earn a living. They have also understood that their large population can be market to anything that they create. And as a result, their population has become market to their film, music, technological innovations, and others by popularizing marketing it not only in Nigeria, but across the world.
What are the disadvantages of Nigerians being smart people?
Before I tell you the disadvantages of Nigerians being smart people, this to let you know that this information is powered by the Forest Resort Lweza Entebbe, Uganda. We keep telling you that that place is so marvelous. It has an awesome swimming pool, good gardens, good restaurants and bar with all kind of foods and drinks. It has a good ample parking space, kids park, and very many things. Just go and check it out.
Okay, what are the disadvantages of Nigerian people being smart?
Nigerians being smartest people in Africa, especially in IT, has made them engage in historical scandals. For example, the story of a Nigerian who sold a fake airport to a Brazilian bank at a cost of 240 million US dollars. Also, a Nigerian by the name Hush Puppy scammed big companies across the world millions of dollars through email. And also, as he was about to scam an English Premier League of 140 million US dollars, he was busted. Nevertheless, this shows how overboard Nigerians can be smart.
Now, let's go to Kenya.
Kenyans are the most hardworking people in Africa. They are the most politically informed people in Africa. They are innovative and among the most educated Africans. Kenyans have a unique English accent derived from a combination of British accent and accent influenced by Swahili and other local languages and dialects. This includes the famous Sheng, a mixture of English and Swahili, and this therefore makes Kenyans speak English word by word.
What makes Kenyans most hardworking, politically informed, and educated?
Kenyans are the most hardworking people both locally and abroad, and they are the third most hardworking and skilled foreigners in the US after Ghanaians and Bulgarians. Though Kenya has the most skilled personnel working in other African countries. And because of that, nothing is too hard for a Kenyan. The culture of hard work in Kenya goes back to school times, whereby a student needed to wake up early at 5, run to school, or face corporal punishment in case of lateness, among others. Kenyans became politically informed, especially after the 2007 post-election violence, whereby constitutional reforms were done which brought about a number of rights and freedoms. It is in this situation whereby there exists the People's Parliament, whereby people can gather, express their anger against the government. And it is in this situation whereby a politician can be insulted and a Kenyan cannot be jailed for doing that.
Jesus is Lord!
The blood of hard work and persistence was exported to the US, whereby Kenya produced the first African-American president, Barack Obama. And above all, Kenya is the first country in the world to invent and introduce mobile money transfer system, the M-Pesa.
So, talk about South Africans.
South Africans are the most developed people in Africa. And they are the most innovative and aggressive people in the continent. They have a good socio-economic foundation which rotates around good schools, good hospitals, good universities, excellent housing, good road networks and urban planning. And also they have excellent car models across Africa. In other words, if good governance was to be experienced in South Africa could be next to Europe via development.
So, what made South Africans most developed, innovative, and aggressive?
South Africans found themselves as most developed people in Africa due to their past history. South Africa is one of the last African nations for Europeans to exit after colonization. By the time the white settlers were leaving South Africa had been developed almost to the level of Europe.
Jesus
After
is Lord.
apartheid, some Europeans left, others stayed. And it was at this moment when South Africans had to take over from where the white settlers left. And it was at this time when South Africans had now to enjoy the awesome socio-economic environment that was left behind by the Europeans. Good socio-economic environment left behind by Europeans were further developed by South Africans, which made South Africa emerge as the greatest innovator in Africa and in the world. This could be experienced by the innovations of DSTV, Linux, Ubuntu, CAT-SCAN, among many others. But South Africans fought for this.
Are there any shortcomings from South Africans?
The disadvantages of South Africans is their past history of freedom fighting. This has left them with an agitated and aggressive mind, which makes them feel sometimes that they are not supposed to coexist with other Africans. This makes them sometimes to come up with an uprising of chasing other Africans from South Africa because they come from less developed countries in Africa.
Talk about Ghana.
Ghanaians are the most underrated but very powerful people in Africa. They have always proven Africa wrong by going beyond the odds in all spheres of life. In other words, nothing can fail a Ghanaian. They are excellent in sports, excellent in education, great in innovation, vibrant in politics, and they have the strongest currency in sub-Saharan Africa. They are always pulling surprises.
Can you elaborate more about Ghana?
There is nothing much to elaborate about Ghana because everything is self-explanatory. First off, Ghana has the most hard-working foreigners in the US with skilled labor. And also, Ghana has a competition history with Nigeria in all spheres of life, be it in music, film, sports, and education. And this has made Ghanaians to be always on top of the game in whatever they do. Most young Ghanaians have come up with surprise automobile and electrical inventions that have caught the world's eye. In summary, Ghana is a country which is always at greater heights and never to be taken for granted at any time.
Okay, talk about Uganda.
Uganda has the youngest entrepreneurs in Africa, and Uganda has the youngest population in the world, with 78% of its citizens are aged 35 and below. And in 25 years to come, this population will double. Ugandans also are the best English speakers in Africa.
And what makes Ugandans the youngest entrepreneurs in Africa?
Its young population brings about stress and competition in order to acquire good healthcare, education, employment, and luxurious life. And this pushes these young individuals to think outside the box and not necessarily in education and employment. And therefore, this makes them start up small businesses which eventually grow up into big enterprises. A young Ugandan can be selling you cold water during sunshine, but the same person can change and start selling you a jacket and umbrella soon as it starts raining. This has brought about emerging young tycoons in Africa and Uganda in particular. Young Ugandans access information from digital technology and internet as never before, and they have in turn used this to make their voices heard and also for content creation to earn a living.
Talk about Ethiopia.
Ethiopians are the only Africans with true self-esteem. They have confidence, they know their worth, abilities, and they have self-respect. Ethiopians are successful in all spheres of life, but they don't fall under matrix or they don't follow usual ideologies.
What makes Ethiopians the only Africans with true self-esteem?
Ethiopians were never colonized, but they are fine. Ethiopians have a different calendar, but they are fine. Ethiopians don't embrace Spanish, English, and French as their primary language for development, but they are fine. They don't entertain foreign interference into their domestic issues, but they are still fine. This, among others, has made Ethiopia still standing. And therefore, Ethiopia has developed even more than other nations which are under matrix. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more countries.